But it was in England that her lifelong involvement with research began. And for a year, she virtually made her home in the library of the British Museum. Upon her return, the indictment was dropped. She promptly opened America's first birth control clinic. Within days, the clinic was closed, and Margaret Sanger was arrested. Offered freedom if she would recant, she preferred jail. She emerged with a sense of moral triumph. Voices of women from all over the country were reaching out to her.
Dear Mrs. Sanger, a word about myself will tell you why I'm writing this. Married at 20 to a laboring man, in 11 years I had 5 living children, 1 stillborn, and 5 miscarriages. Dear Mrs. Sanger, I hate to bother you, but I'm desperate. I have been married 15 years and have 6 living children. Dear Mrs. Sanger, I'm married 2 years and have had 2 children 16 months apart. Dear Mrs. Sanger, I'm writing you as a last hope of help. I'm the mother of 8 children and have nothing. I never expect to have, but just children.
It was in response to letters like these that she traveled from town to town, organizing Planned Parenthood clinics.
Don't think that I don't like my children. I surely do. I would give my life for one of them. I am writing to you, bearing my very soul, for you have the knowledge, and I want and need it.
With the end of World War I, Margaret Sanger began to look at the problem in an even broader context. She extended her travels to Asia. Here she saw with prophetic clarity what unchecked population growth would mean to the modern world. How it could help perpetuate the poverty of entire nations. She saw the terrible dilemma of a food supply which does not grow as fast as the number of people. As early as the 20s, she began the work which ultimately led her to establish the International Planned Parenthood Federation. She braved political and religious opposition by holding the first international conference on population planning.
It seems a pity that so enlightened a people as ours should draw from their lives so many fundamental truths, simply because when they are presented, they appear either sensational or shocking. Many people are horrified at the idea of birth control, while to me, it is simply the keynote of a new moral program. It is a sense of a new moral responsibility.
The opposition continued, particularly strong in the United States.
Moral convictions against the practice of contraception, and there are very many millions of seriously minded people, independent of denominational adherence, who think that it is immoral. There can be no question but that the lowering of moral standards and the lifting of all restrictions must result in a devastating downward pressure upon the standards of moral living in our country.
But gradually Margaret Sanger's views prevailed.
It was good news to us all that the Federal Council of Churches came out openly on the subject of birth control.
The report on marriage in the home seems to me to be an intelligent utterance of modern and scientific minds.